It's the 11th hour and you need a handmade gift for someone who doesn't like crafty homemade gifts. Or you're just expecting to get a lot of new jewellery this year and don't know where you're going to put it all. Either way, if you have about half an hour, an old or inexpensive embroidery hoop, a scrap of dress net and/or some ribbon, you can make a very practical and pleasant looking jewellery organiser. The simplest version of this is great for earrings and pin badges, and at a stretch can work for other jewellery too, although it helps if you get some mini S-hooks if you'd like to hang something like necklaces or bracelets. All you need is an embroidery hoop and some dress net big enough to cover it. I recommend stiff dress net rather than tulle because the holes are bigger and the construction is slightly different, so you're less likely to damage the threads pushing earring backs through it. If you accumulate more embroidery hoops than you need, you may have extras lying around. Or if, like me, you have one and resent touching it, you can get a multi-pack next day from Jeffrey Bezos. I recommend going for wood over plastic if you do any of the styles with ribbons, you'll see why in a minute, but it's really up to you. Stretch the net tightly over the embroidery hoop, make sure it's screwed in to keep it secure, and then for an extra layer of security I like to go over with a little glue just to really keep it in place. The second option is basically the same, but I'm adding some additional storage hanging down from the bottom. I'm cutting 2 pieces of polyester satin ribbon from this 100-metre reel I've been steadily working my way through for more than 10 years at this point, but any ribbon will do, and using a lighter to melt both ends and prevent them fraying. I'm then sewing the 2 pieces together and around the inside hoop of the embroidery frame so they're lying on top of each other. I could probably do this by machine, like I did that time I made a ribbon harness, but it was less annoying to just do it by hand. I'm sewing the 2 ribbons together every 1 to 2 inches. There's a few ways you could use this extra hanging space, such as for hair accessories, but I'm thinking of my brooch collection and they tend to be on the big side, so this spacing works quite well for me. Once I've done all the sewing, I'll cover the hoop with net, just like I did before. The final option is a great alternative for things like hair clips and also big brooches that would struggle with the net, but if you don't want to do the hanging ribbons. I'm cutting lengths of ribbon just like before, but this time I'm weaving a very open lattice, big enough to fit over an embroidery hoop. I'm gluing this together at the intersections, so while I'm doing an over-under weaving pattern, you don't actually need to, it's just decorative. You can make the weave as open or close together as you'd like. Once that's all dry, you can fit the ribbon weave into the embroidery hoops just like the net. This is a bit harder to tension than the net, but be patient with it and it'll come out looking great. Once it's in and tightened, I'm trimming off the excess and then using a lighter to seal the end of the ribbon again. This is why I recommend wood hoops over plastic. It's just easier if you're not worrying about melting the hoop too. An extra layer of glue for security, and this one is ready to go. Meanwhile, for the net hoops, now that the glue is dry, all that you need to do is trim off the excess net, and they are also done. I've hung these from command hooks in my workroom as that's where I keep my LARP kit and that's what most of my jewellery collection is for. If you are worried about dust, I recommend hanging them somewhere like the inside of a wardrobe door, but for me, being able to see everything is much more important. The net hoops definitely works best for earrings, but I've managed to find a way to get most things on there thanks to these little S-hooks, also a Bezos special. I don't love this for rings, but that's about it, and it still works, it's just not great. My brooches look amazing on these hanging sections, and the woven hoop is brilliant for storing hair accessories on clips, combs, and pins. I hope you've enjoyed this video and are counting down the days to the end of the year. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to keep the YouTube gods happy. Follow me on other platforms if you'd like to see pictures of my cat, and down in the description box you can find a link to my Ko-fi page where you can make a one-off or recurring donation to support this channel and the acquisition of even more improbably specific brooches. Ko-fi supporters get early access to all of my videos, and I couldn't do what I do without them. If all goes according to plan, I'll see you one more time in 2023, but until then, dream big, and I'll see you next time.